Hi everybody, several shots are able to change the course of history, and the weapon itself may obtain a status of a really invaluable gizmo. And today, you'll see for yourself. Starting with the attributes of the popular gangster duo Bonnie and Clyde, we will explore the Wild West and find out the price on pistols are made from a precious 4-million-year-old meteorite. We shall finish with a literally priceless firearm. Whatever price you're going to mention, it'll still be worth more. Here are top of the most famous and expensive specimens of firearms in the world. This .45 caliber Colt belonged to Wyatt Earp, the fearless and unscrupulous sheriff of Tombstone. The lawman and gambler of those times became widely known due to books and movies of the Western genre, in which he played the main role. And even if in real life the famous shooter was a rather controversial figure, which was the reason why his revolver went under the hammer for as many as $225,000 US, this exact Colt model was involved in the most known scene in the history of the Wild West, the gunfight at the O.K.Corral, which is next to Tombstone town. Probably as many films were shot about this gunfight as about the Napoleon's Battle of Waterloo. The Earp brothers and Doc Holliday shot down the whole Clinton family, thieves and murderers, in just a half a minute. All public agents except Wyatt Earp were wounded. On that day, no enemy's bullet hit him. However, just one shot of his revolver was enough to inflict a mortal injury to the legendary Wild West robber, daring and unpredictable Jesse James. A Smith & Wesson of the .44 caliber was the weapon of choice, which the Jesse himself presented to the legendary killer Robert Ford as a sign of reconciliation. When Robert Ford joined Jess's gang, nobody would ever assume that this cowardly youngster had made a secret arrangement with Missouri governor to kill the leader. He instantly fired the shot when the unarmed Jesse turned his back to him. Even though he was a robber and a murderer, he was mourned by whole America as the best son. He was some kind of Robin Hood, a hero to such a degree that there was probably not one single boy who wasn't dreaming of waking up one fine morning as Jesse James. Because of that, the interest in the weapon of his assassination was quite obvious. In 2003, the revolver was sold for as many as $350,000 US. These two Colts belonged to the most popular gangster duo, Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow. Besides the love for each other, they had two other strong passions: robberies and weapons.
Is that your money or the bank's? I'm only a little lower.
And although Bonnie and Clyde have been dead for a long time, they continue to drain bank accounts from the other side. At an auction, an anonymous bidder paid $500,000 for two guns of the notorious gangsters. The .38 caliber Colt of Bonnie and the .45 caliber of Clyde, which were on them when the police shot the couple, drew the highest bid at the auction in Nashua. They went under the hammer for $504,000 US. The Henry rifle of 1860 is not famous due to its owner, but to its history. It was invented by the engineer Benjamin Tyler Henry 1 year before the beginning of the Civil War in USA. Its emergence marked a turning point in the history of firearms. Being the first successful weapon with a lever-action repeater, it has virtually changed the rules of the game. It was a 16-shot rifle, and this at the time when most other rifles were muzzle-loaded, so reloading took a lot of time. The soldiers even used to say, "the rifle you could load on Sunday and shoot all week long." Altogether, 14,000 units have been manufactured, 400 of them on the iron frame. Nowadays, exactly these rifles are among the most valuable for the collectors. One of them was auctioned for $603,000 US. This double-barreled gun belonged to Theodore Roosevelt and is a dream for every collector. It is known that the 26th President of the United States was seriously keen on hunting. Shortly after the end of his presidency, he started out for the African expedition, taking his rifle with him. Within 13 months, several thousand animals were killed with this weapon, including elephants and white rhinoceroses, the effigies of which are still preserved in certain American museums. In 2010, the gun was sold in an auction for $862,000. Another interesting fact, Roosevelt, who as we stated loved hunting, carried a bullet in his body until the end of his life due to a failed assassination attempt. The operation for removing the bullet was too risky at those times. And next in line are the legendary revolvers created by Samuel Colt. On your screen you can now see the Colt Walker, designed in 1846 in collaboration with the former Texas Ranger, Captain Samuel Walker. He offered the inventor to develop a powerful army revolver for the Horsemen. It did not quite catch on in the army, but on the other hand, it gained recognition as one of the most powerful cap and ball revolvers of that time. By the way, this model is the favorite revolver of Clint Eastwood. Very few original Colt Walker revolvers reached our time. One of these revolvers was sold at an auction for a record sum for such a type of weapon, $920,000. And an even higher sum was bid for one of the most known Colt revolvers. Colt Paterson, hero of all American westerns, referred to as the Wild West Conqueror, was auctioned for $977,500. At that time, it was the first functioning revolver with primer ignition in all time, patented by Samuel Colt on February 25, 1836. The revolvers, such as Colt Paterson and Colt Walker, were popular with Texas Rangers, giving them a significant advantage both in firepower and reloading speed. The designs of 1839 allowed loading the weapons without disassembling it, thanks to which the fighters were able to reload the weapon without getting off the horse. The next pistols was valued incredibly high. It belonged to one of the most important figures in world history, Simon Bolivar. He was the one who spearheaded the fight for the independence of Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, and Bolivia from the Spanish crown. He is the father of Latin America. Two unique pistols followed him through all trials and were manufactured by one of the most famous gun makers of the 19th century, Nicolas Noel Boutet, who was the official gunsmith to Napoleon Bonaparte. This pair of pistols with a flintlock bear, which have without any doubt blood traces of Spanish viceroy on it, were sold in 2004 at an auction for $1,687,500 US. For nearly $2 million, these Horseman's pistols from the days of the revolutionary struggle for independence of the American states went under the hammer. One of their owners was the 7th President of the United States, Jackson. But the first owner was, of course, George Washington. Many consider them as the most important weapons in the American history and symbols of the Revolution. Today, they can be seen in the Museum of Pennsylvania. However, it turns out that among the most expensive pistols on our planet are alien ones. The Cabot Guns Company presented the most expensive set of guns worldwide, dubbed Big Bang. The name Big Bang can be explained by the material from which they are made. These firearms are crafted from a meteorite. To be more exact, from the Gibeon meteorite that fell on the territory of today's Namibia around 4 billion years ago. 26 tons of the cosmic body's chunks were found in 1836. Tons of these chunks went to scientists. Hundreds of kilograms have been handed over to museums. In 2015, the Cabot Guns Company also purchased 77 pounds of this meteorite and produced them 2 one-of-a-kind pistols from it. Both pistols were created in a fashion that resembles the legendary Colt 1911. The meteorite Colt pistols are sold as a pair only and are worth $4.5 million. According to rumors, the value of this rifle is not less. After all, it was the rifle that killed John F. Kennedy. The only official suspect in this case was Lee Harvey Oswald. The commission found Oswald guilty for the death of the 35th President of the United States. In the summary statements of the commission, it has been written that all 3 shots were fired from this very rifle, the Italian Carcano of .38 caliber. Oswald's weapon has been sold by his wife to a collector from Denver, John King. Naturally, the rifle remained in the possession of the authorities during investigation, but afterwards it was handed over to King, at least that's what he thought. In the next year, King tried his luck at an auction in order to get the rifle back into his collection. He even tried to sue the government for $5 million because of the damages that had been done. But everything he was able to receive was the amount of $350 in compensation. The true value of this weapon far exceeds $5 million, and in general, one can't simply imagine what the price of such a gizmo could be. And finally, the weapon of which the value nobody can determine. This pocket pistol was sold for merely $25, but after it had been used to assassinate the 16th President of the United States, it became priceless. In 1865, the actor John Booth changed the course of history by shooting Abraham Lincoln, liberator of the slaves and a national hero, with the help of said pistol from the company Philadelphia Derringer. Due to this, the pistol is sometimes referred to as the Derringer Lincoln. Booth's pistol is officially considered the most expensive in the world, since experts believe it is impossible to determine its value. Whatever price you're going to mention, it'll still be worth more. I hope you liked this video, and thank you all for watching.